What is going on, everybody? Greg Ehrenberg here from OddsShopper, and we're about to break down, well, really everything today because we have a big sports plate. There's a bunch of baseball games, there's a bunch of NBA games, we've got NHL games, and we've got data for all of this over an OddsShopper. And then, of course, the Masters is coming up. I'm going to be covering some bets that we have projected well for the Masters tomorrow. But for today, I kind of want to bounce around to some of these different sports and not just focus on one, but just look at all of them. And I'm going to pull this up on screen right now, our projections over an OddsShopper. And right now I'm looking at the all bets tab. So you're looking at still the best bets for today are popping up as baseball, but you see some hockey bets in here, some basketball bets as well. But we'll filter by the different sports and look at some of the top action of the day. And as you guys come in, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you want access to all of this data and tools that I'm about to talk about, you get a 7-day free trial for OddsShopper using the link we have below. And like you see here, on a slate like today, where we are filled with a bunch of games for a bunch of different sports, there are a whole lot of plus EV bets. We got dozens of them projected well, and I'm going to be getting a lot of action down today. So let's start with baseball. Let's look at some of our top baseball props of the day. I'll look at the individual player pages here so we can look at some of the tabs and see why some of these ones project better on different sites than others. Starting with German Marquez here, over 4.5 strikeouts on the road against the Dodgers. Clearly a very difficult matchup for German Marquez. He's always a pitcher that's had really good stuff, but unfortunately makes half of his starts at Coors Field. And there have been times where German Marquez has looked like a potential ace in the big leagues, but it's just going to be hard for him to put up big numbers when he's pitching in Colorado. So even though this is a really difficult matchup against the Dodgers, probably is a little more favorable for Marquez just to be on the road as opposed to pitching at home at Coors Field. And as you can see here, PointsBet has over 4.5 strikeouts available for plus 115. Compare that to some other books, minus 145 on DK, minus 120 on FanDuel, minus 149 on Caesars. So if you get the PointsBet number, pretty good value on German Marquez. Not a bad baseball bet to start the day there. And Zach Gallen, another one here who's projecting pretty well, under 6.5 strikeouts on the road against the Padres. And Zach Gallen was not just good last year, he was exceptionally good. But it was so far out of line with what he's done for the rest of his career. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some regression this season. And that is something that we're projecting for a little bit here today. As you guys could see, under 6.5 strikeouts is looking like a good line to take the under on Zach Gallen. It's minus 135 on BetMGM. PointsBet actually weirdly has the line at 4.5 here. So you could actually get a pretty big middle, taking under 6.5 on BetMGM, over 4.5 at PointsBet. A little bit more of a juice line. FanDuel minus 142, DraftKings minus 150 compared to that BetMGM line. But Zach Gallen under on his strikeouts look pretty good. Framber Valdez, another one, 7.5 strikeouts. Pretty big line for Valdez, especially considering we're early on in the season. There are not that many pitchers that I expect to go right out of the gate throwing 100 plus pitches with a massive workload. We actually did see the Astros yesterday with one of their top prospects, Hunter Brown. We ended up finding out shortly before that game started that they were going to limit him to 85 to 90 pitches in 5 innings. I wouldn't be shocked if something similar happens today with Framber Valdez. And if that is the case, 7.5 strikeouts, super high prop here. Don't mind taking the under there. Best line available is on DraftKings at minus 135. A little bit heavier of a line, minus 148 at FanDuel, minus 171 over at Caesars. Some more strikeout props. Here's some total bases props. Danny Jensen under 1.5 total bases at Bet Rivers for minus 143. That's also available at Unibet. Look at BetMGM minus 185, DK minus 165, Caesars minus 179. We have this bet projected to win 62% of the time. Not bad for minus 143 odds at all. Domingo Germán here. Looks like the best line is available at FanDuel. So I'll highlight a FanDuel bet for you guys because we haven't found any individual ones that have looked best at FanDuel. But Domingo Germán is a pitcher who I question what his commitment is to being a professional baseball player at this point in his career. He actually did briefly retire. What was that, 2 years ago? He's dealt with a number of off-field issues, and he's also progressively gotten worse as his career has gone on, and that's been especially so in the strikeout department. I've got his numbers in front of me now. Rookie year for Domingo Germán, 29% K rate. He was one of the Yankees' best-regarded pitching prospects at the time. Since then, 29% K rate, then 27.2, 25.8, 23.9, and then a career worst 19.5% last year. That's really not a great trend. And then when you consider some of the other stuff too, the domestic violence incident that he's had, the fact that he did briefly retire from baseball, I'm not super high on Domingo Germán coming into the year. Tough matchup for him against the Phillies. Plus 130 is the number on FanDuel, and that is way better than you're going to find anywhere else. Plus 110 on DK, plus minus 120 on PointsBet, plus 110 bet MGM. So Domingo Herman under 4.5 strikeouts on FanDuel looks pretty good. Scroll down, see if there's anything else. Got Alex Verdugo over 1.5 total bases at plus money. But yeah, we've covered a good amount of baseball bets. So let's jump over to NBA and see what's projecting well there. By the way, there's different views you guys could look at here. For the purpose of me recording this, I think it's easier for me to look at this page just so we could easily click on some of these and see like, all right, Grizzlies first quarter money line minus 350 at PointsBet, minus 430 at FanDuel, minus 400 at Caesars. Minus 350 is a ton of juice to lay, but something I've talked about some of these bets that you could do at books, you could parlay first quarter money lines with full game money lines. Obviously, a ton of correlation there, and that's something that'll often reduce the juice of these. You could probably get the Grizzlies for like minus 180 if you were to parlay the first quarter money line with the full game money line. They're at home against the Portland Trailblazers. Pretty favorable spot for Memphis for sure. What else is looking good? Not quite as many plus EV bets, or at least to the same degree with basketball that there were for baseball. Part of that is also going to be that at least the time I'm recording this early in the morning, there are not a ton of prop bets listed at every book yet for basketball. Just the nature of the time of the season and so many players being on the injury report. But Evan Mobley under 9.5 rebounds, not a bad look here. We've got a couple books that have him listed at 8.5. Really favorable matchup for the Cavaliers against the Magic. I do think we're going to start to see Cleveland either rest guys a little bit down the stretch of the season or start to limit some of their playing time. So with that in mind, under 9.5 rebounds for Evan Mobley doesn't look bad at all. Nothing else here that I really want to highlight too much. Jalen Williams, tough matchup for him against the Warriors, over under 26.5 PRA, 25.5 at other spots. So FanDuel, that's one of the reasons this is projecting better than other spots, just because you got a line that's a point higher than anywhere else. It's hard for me to bet OKC lines early in the morning just because of how often we see guys like SGA getting ruled out. So I'm not gonna bet this right now. The line does look favorable if everybody's in, but I would wait to get confirmation later on the day whether we're getting SGA in or out. Let's look to see if anything stands out for NHL. And then we'll look at prize picks, see if there's a good parlay over on there, and that'll close out the show. By the way, if you guys have more questions for me, check out our Chalkboard channel. It's totally free to download the app. It is free to join our channel. I post a bunch of additional bets in there. Yesterday, I had Yoshida 11-1 hit his first big league homer. That came through. So if you guys want to check out our Chalkboard channel, it's free. And you can ask us questions, particularly about some of the tools we have over on the site. Our number one NHL bet, this is actually one that I've already placed today. Tyler Toffoli for over 3.5 shots on goal, plus money at Bet Rivers. It's plus money at a few other spots as well. That's a pretty good looking bet. What else? A little bit of juice here on Johnny Gaudreau for under 3.5 shots on goal at DraftKings. But here's why I think it's worthwhile. We've got it projected for a 3% expected ROI. A couple of bets have this listed actually at 2.5 for Gaudreau. And then even though it's minus 165 on DraftKings, compare that to minus 175 at BetMGM, minus 178 at FanDuel. So considering how our algorithm works, market-based, we're weighting the different sports books and all the different lines that are available. And depending how different success rates sports books have had over the course of time, those ones are weighted a little bit more heavily. So a book like FanDuel, which we do consider to be one of the sharper books at setting prop lines, when they have this listed at minus 178 and Gaudreau's at minus 165, something that projects out pretty well for us there. Let's go and look at the prize picks parlay. So over at prize picks, nothing too crazy here. 24% expected ROI, pretty good. Talk about this whenever I bring up the prize picks parlay. Whenever you're placing a 6-leg parlay, you're never going to get massively high expected win odds. But if you get hit on some of these here and there, you're going to be profitable over time. That's why the 24% expected win rate we have, expected ROI is 24%, even though the win rate is only 3%. So prize picks parlay, these are the best ones that we have on the board. Batherson under 2.5 shots on goal for Ottawa. Luis Castillo under 7.5 strikeouts for his first start of the season. Spencer Dinwiddie, we've seen some pretty big assist prop totals for him as of late. Another one today, under 9.5 is projecting well for us over on prize picks. James Wiseman under 8.5 rebounds. Brock Boser for under 2.5 shots on goal for the Canucks, and then under 1.5 total bases for Tyler O'Neill. So there is your 6-leg prize picks. Flex parlay, good for a 24% expected ROI, 3% expected win rate. And that does it for me today, guys. We covered a bunch of sports. I got in a bunch of bets, a bunch of information for you really quickly. If you want more access to these tools, 7-day free trial, totally risk-free. I think you guys are going to like it. That's why we make it a 7-day free trial. We hope you guys come in, make some money, and then the tool will just pay for itself past that. That is going to do it for me. If you guys haven't done yet, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. I hope you have a great day, and good luck tonight.